guys, this is my new video series. It's called Anastasia's Real Meals. I'm very nervous about doing this, so I'm gonna pretend that you guys are my sister and I'm teaching her how to cook without burning her face off, because I've done just that. My older sister thought that she couldn't cook. I felt that she was too lazy to cook, and so what I did is I taught her fun and simple ways of doing really good meals, and now she has a great time doing it. She cooks all the time. Today I'm going to start off with basic ingredients. I have some peppers, onions, and chicken. And you know, if you want, you can just throw some salt and pepper on it and that'll be a great meal for everybody. But I want to do a Mexican night. So I'm going to throw in, obviously, some sour cream, salsa, wraps, some fajita seasoning, beans. I'm going to make it big. I got my peppers, a couple onions, and I have this fajita seasoning. It's on this post-it right here. I don't even know where I got it. I found it online somewhere. To be honest with you, I probably just threw different website fajita seasonings together. It calls for cumin, dried oregano, salt, ground red pepper, black pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. I don't always have these on hand. I have a few spices. I'm going to throw some together and I want to teach you how to substitute. I have the cumin, and I think cumin is the basic ingredient for this. So as long as you have cumin, you can substitute other things. And I don't have garlic powder, but I do have fresh garlic. I like to use garlic. If you don't have it, it's not a big deal. I'm going to start off by putting my spices into this ramekin. I use ramekins for everything but what they're supposed to be used. I got this one at a white elephant sale at my church's Greek festival. I don't make lava cake. I don't even know what else they're used for, but they come in handy when you want a good slew of spices. So I'm going to start off with the cumin. This recipe that I found calls for 1.5 teaspoons. I'm going to go with a full tablespoon just because I like the flavor, and cumin's supposed to be really good for you. This is a heaping tablespoon. I don't have dried oregano, but I do have salt. It calls for 1/4 teaspoon of salt. But I'm just going to give it, you know, this is about 15 to 20 little stirs. Ground red pepper, don't have that, but I'm going to use cayenne pepper. Get a little spice kick. Black pepper I do have. It's fancy. I counted 10. 10 little shakes. Garlic powder I don't have, but I do have onion powder. And you know what? This calls for 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, but I'm just gonna... That looks like a full teaspoon. I put a full teaspoon of onion powder. I'm going to stir this up. The fresh garlic I'm going to use later. And I'm going to put it aside. Now I'm going to chop my veggies. I like to get different color peppers just to add color to the meal. You don't have to. Personally, I like the red ones better. So I got extra red ones. And I'm just getting everything I need. Like you would when you're really cooking, I'm just grabbing everything I need as I go. It's funny, this recipe started when I lived with my sister. I used to live in Hoboken, New Jersey. There are 3 of us. There are 3 sisters, and we would want to invite everybody over, all of our friends, our boyfriends, and we wanted something that was easy but a lot. And we started doing this Mexican night. So we would get like just a bunch of peppers, a bunch of onions, and just throw them all together. And it became this ritual that we would do. Right now, I'm just I'm cutting each side of the pepper, and then I'm coring it. Is that what you call it? I don't even know. I'm pulling the inside out, and I'm cutting it in half. I'm doing it for all of them. And so we would do this Mexican night, and I would be the ringleader. And this is actually how I started teaching my older sister how to cook. I would be the ringleader, and they would do this dirty work. Now, the chopping is the hardest. It's not hard, it's just so annoying. And if you can delegate that task to somebody else, I would. Right now I have nobody but my little puppy right here, and she won't be that good at chopping. She'll probably chop her face off. I'm using 5 peppers. You can use more or less. So I have 5 peppers and 2 onions. Anyway, like I was saying, we used to do this recipe when we wanted a lot of people over. We were just hanging out, and we were so excited. One would be chopping, one would be cooking, one would be peeling garlic, and we were so excited about the end result. We came up with a song, and we would just sing, "It's Mexican night, Mexican night, it's Mexican night," and the whole time. I'm cutting each half of the pepper into little slivers. I don't even know what they're called. I don't have cooking lingo. I don't know what anything's called. I just love to cook. I like to be creative. And like you saw with my fajita seasoning, you don't have to go exactly by what the recipe says. If you like something more, put in more. I mean, I know with baking, if you guys bake, it's a chemistry, so you really have to follow the recipe to the T. But with cooking, you can improvise. You can do whatever you want, really. I like garlic, so I'm going to use fresh garlic. You don't have to use the powder. I feel like with the powder, you don't taste it as much. But when you use fresh garlic, you really get that spice of the garlic. Right now as I'm cutting, it's nostalgic for me, and I just want to keep singing It's Mexican Night, but I won't sing for you guys because I know I have an awful singing voice. I'm going to start cutting my onion. I cut each side. And I peel it. It's funny that this is our most popular dish. We're a Greek family, and the way we learned to cook is by our mom, who would cook a lot of Greek foods and whatnot. But once you start cooking, you'll notice that every culture uses the same fresh vegetables and lean meats, and they're all just trying to be healthy. With the onion, I'm just cutting it so that I'm chopping it in half, and then I just keep chopping each half so that it looks like this, and I can break it apart, and it'll just saute really nicely. It'll caramelize nicely. Vegetables are chopped. I'm going to put some coconut oil. I like using coconut oil over vegetable oil. I think it's healthier. Plus, I like the flavor it gives off when it's mixed with all the vegetables. I put 1 tablespoon of coconut oil into my pan. And just heat it up a little bit. Swoosh it around in there. Now I'm going to dump my vegetables in. I hope none of it falls because my dog's right there. I'm just going to dump them all in. And I like it, so I'm going to put a lid on it. Get it? So I'm just going to let my vegetables cook for a while. It takes about 10 minutes to really get them nice and soft. Sometimes I like to leave them in for longer. It's a personal preference thing. While that's happening, I'm going to take out my chicken. While I was in there, I also took out my wraps, my sour cream, and salsa. Now I'm gonna cut the chicken open. This is one thing I do spend money on. I'm very big on not spending too much money when you cook on appliances and really great knives and whatever. But one thing that I think that you should spend money on is organic meat. There's always the argument that you can never tell if it's actually organic, but I'm gonna trust it. So I took out my chicken that's been defrosting all day. And I'm just gonna put a little salt and pepper on one side. I'm gonna wash my hands. And I'm just gonna cut each piece. These are organic chicken breasts. I'm gonna cut each piece in half. And then each half I'm gonna cube. I've made this recipe with ground turkey. I've made it with ground beef. I like chicken the best. You can even do a vegan style. You can put in tofu. I put in beans anyway. It's filling either way if you put the beans in. Some of these are big chunks. I try to keep them little just because they're going to be going into a burrito. But if they're big, they're big. I don't think anyone's going to be doing any complaining. Anytime I see my sisters now, they request this meal. I've made it for friends coming over for dinner. I've made it for a lot of different things just because it uses simple ingredients. You can make a lot and you can make it fast if you know if you have all of the ingredients. I'm gonna wash my hands as I touch the chicken. I'm gonna put the chicken aside. Stir my vegetables. I have my veggies cooking on high. And I'm just going to lower it to medium for a little bit. Now I have my garlic. And since I used that chopping knife for the chicken, I'm going to use another one for the garlic. Just so we don't mix utensils or contaminate anything. I'm going to crack it just to get the full flavor out. I'm going to peel it. You can grate the garlic in the vegetables. I like chopping it. Just going to chop my garlic. Yum, I can smell it. It smells so good. If it were up to me, I would cook with a lot of garlic. But garlic is so good for you. It has antibiotic properties. I mean, I grew up drinking it when I was sick. You know, those Greek home remedies. We used to put it in a cup of water. My mom would smash it and put it in a cup of water, and we would drink pure garlic and water. And it was disgusting. But I felt better in a day. So I cut it thin. Some of the pieces are a little thicker, but it doesn't really matter. You'll still get the flavor, you'll get the aroma. And I'm just going to put it in with my vegetables. Now I have my beans. I'm going to use my heavy duty can opener. If I can even do it. To open the can. These are black beans, but I've used kidney beans, I've used garbanzo beans. It's basically whatever you like. I'm going to take my strainer. And just, you know, strain the liquid out. That's another thing I like about this meal. And a lot of the meals I cook, the sky's the limit with your ingredients. It's basically whatever you like. Some people hate black beans. You don't have to use black beans. Some people don't like beans. You don't even have to use beans if you don't want. It'll still be delicious. Even if you didn't put in the fajita seasoning, just the simple ingredients with peppers, onions, and chicken, it'll be delicious. I rinsed off my beans. I'm just giving them a little shake and bake. And I'm gonna just dump them into my vegetables. It's as simple as that. I'm gonna give them another little stir. I'm also gonna cook my chicken in there. So once the vegetables cook for a little bit longer, and I do a little cleaning, because like my Greek mother, I like to clean as I go. A lot of people think that's psycho, but I just don't like all the cleaning in the end. I like to enjoy my meals. So while my veggies are cooking, it's just a little clean. And a lot of times I keep my garbage on the floor, so as I go through garbage, I just put it in the garbage can. I don't keep it on the counter. It's just easier. I have my fajita seasoning. Guys, if I lose this, I don't know how I'm going to make this again. Even though I substitute, I still need it. It's like a security blanket. Putting my fajita seasoning with my spices. Okay, now it's time to cook the chicken. I'm going to take my pre-cubed chicken. So I put my chicken in the pot with the vegetables. I have my vegetables cooking. Everything looks so fresh, so delicious. The chicken looks cooked, so you have to be careful with the chicken. You have to make sure it's cooked. I like using one pot for the simplicity of it instead of cooking my chicken separately. If you feel weird about it, cook your chicken separately, cube it up, and then put it in the pot. I threw it in, and I cut a few of the big chunks, and I know that my chicken is cooked. Now I'm going to take this fajita seasoning that we threw in this lovely ramekin. That's not for what it's for. And I'm going to dump it into I'm just going to season my whole pot. In here there's peppers, there's onions, there's beans, there's chicken, and there's garlic. And now I put in the fajita seasoning, and I'm going to give it all one big stir. And you can smell it. It's amazing. You smell the fresh spices, you smell the vegetables, everything looks so good. And now that it's seasoned, it's basically ready. I'm just going to put in some salsa right into the pot. I'm just going to dump salsa. After all, it's Mexican night. I just used this jar of salsa, and I'm going to put in some of my new jar. I'm just going to give it a couple stirs, and it's done. I thought I'd be ballsy and pick it up, but it's way too hot. So I'm going to use my adorable Greek mitts that my mom got me from some island that she went to. And this is the final product. This is what it looks like in the pot. You see all the colors, you see the chicken, you see the beans. It's just like a pot full of love. And I turn the heat off, of course. Make sure you do that. I'm going to take one of my wraps, and it's so simple. It's a wrap. I'm gonna scoop some of my delicious Mexican night on it. Look how good it looks with all the colors. I'm a dairy person, so I'm gonna put some sour cream. But honestly, I have a lot of friends that are lactose intolerant. I made this for them. They don't even use the sour cream. They like it just like this. You can just fold it into a burrito, eat it, and it's amazing. So I went hefty on the sour cream. The key to folding a burrito, you get one side, you fold two sides in, and then you kind of fold it over, and it's Mexican night. Mexican night. That's a good Mexican night. Thanks for watching Anastasia's Real Meals.